In a world where peace prevailed, Sato opened his eyes and startled the girl in front of him. Emily Brown was terrified because normally after defeating a monster, the treasure that dropped would be bean sprouts. But this time an actual flesh and blood human suddenly fell out of the slime. Right after that, another slime appeared. Slimes on the first floor of Terrell usually dropped bean sprouts, and this one was no different. Only then did Sato look around and realize he was in an extremely bizarre place. The blonde girl picked up the bean sprouts while explaining things to him, that everything in this world could drop from dungeons, and they needed to either use these items or exchange them for money. The situation was too confusing to comprehend, so Sato had no choice but to follow the girl in bewilderment, watching her fight against the slimes. Emily's technique was simple yet brutal. She lured the slimes to attack her body, then seized that opportunity to eliminate them. Emily led him to an information board where placing your hand on it would display the user's information, including physical condition and drop rates. After hearing this, the young man also placed his hand on it to try. His power stats were terribly low. His level was still at 1, but all his drop rates were S rank. Emily assumed S was a sequential order like in the alphabet, making it very low. But Sato, with his extensive gaming experience, felt that S was a rank far higher than an A. To test this theory, the young man borrowed a bamboo stick from his companion's equipment as a weapon, then fought against an approaching slime. Though it was difficult, after struggling for a while, he managed to defeat it. Sure enough, what dropped was an enormous amount of bean sprouts, a quantity never seen before, which confirmed his speculation. Setting this matter aside for now, the two took a break to eat. Emily's cooking skills delighted Sato immensely, even bringing him to tears because in his previous life, he had not enjoyed such a delicious meal in a very long time. Hearing Sato's heartfelt confession, Emily immediately embraced him and comforted him for quite a while. After resting, the two temporarily parted ways there. Before leaving, she also gave Sato the bamboo stick to ensure his safety outside. The next day, after some investigation, Sato had grasped the basics of this world. The currency used here was called pyro, and the values of various items were clearly referenced. Thus, Sato quickly dealt with some slimes in the dungeon to exchange bean sprouts for money to get by. 3 days passed, and Sato finally managed to rent an old house and invited Emily Brown to live with him, as a way of repaying her for all the help she had given him on that first day. Touched by this gesture, Emily promised to cook for him for the rest of her life. Another day of selling bean sprouts for money came. Today Sato earned nearly 2,000 pyro. The girl at the exchange counter advised him to go to the second floor to get carrots, which were worth twice as much as bean sprouts. She also mentioned that recently a new dungeon called Nihonium had appeared and was being investigated by the Neptune family, the largest clan in the region. That evening, while Sato was lost in thought, he was amazed by the transformation of their home. Emily had cleaned everything and taken care of him with incredible enthusiasm. Seeing how much she enjoyed doing housework, Sato decided not to discourage her. When Sato told her about what he had heard that morning, Emily said she had also heard about it, but apparently it was just a useless dungeon that dropped nothing at all. In this world where dungeons dropped all sorts of things, the idea of one that dropped nothing sounded extremely strange. That night, Sato ventured into the Nihonium dungeon to see for himself. The first thing he faced was a skeleton with tremendous strength. Sato used all his might, and it took quite a while before he could defeat the skeleton. What dropped from it was a tiny grain of rice that could easily be overlooked if one was not paying attention. The moment he held the grain in his hand, Sato's HP rapidly increased. Emily went with him to check his stats again. While all other stats remained at F, his HP had risen to C rank, proving the grain's effect was real. So Sato continued returning to that dungeon to fight those skeleton monsters and absorb the grains from them. Emily also tried, but nothing dropped for her like it did for him. Even when Sato gave her the grain, she could not absorb it. The two checked his stats again. Sato was truly a heaven-defying existence. He did not level up, but kept getting stronger. Sato quickly realized that the Nihonium dungeon was a specialized dungeon for upgrading stats specifically for those with S-rank drop rates. The next morning, Emily prepared breakfast for Sato. When she heard that his HP had reached S-rank and he planned to try his luck on the second floor of Terrell, Emily showed concern and reminded him not to push himself too hard, as she was worried about him. Seeing Emily's concern for him, Sato recalled his previous life where no one ever worried about him like this. Every day he had to work overtime until he was exhausted, and he could only bear it alone. Back in the present, Sato smiled and nodded, promising Emily he would return before dark. On the second floor of Terrell, the slimes were stronger now. They could even counterattack Sato with astonishing speed. But because he had upgraded his HP to S rank, Sato felt no pain, and his health bar did not drop too severely. This gave Sato even more confidence to fight. When he killed a slime, a massive carrot dropped. Before Sato could pick it up, another slime appeared, but it was quickly dealt with by a group of people. They were surprised to see Sato there, and when they noticed he was only level 1, they mocked him before leaving. At that moment, a girl with rabbit ears appeared behind him. She showed contempt for someone at level 1 and struck him. But because of his high HP, Sato did not feel much. The rabbit girl immediately turned and left upon seeing this, leaving Sato in confusion. Setting that aside, when evening came, Emily was overjoyed to see Sato bring back such a huge carrot. Thanks to these, their income had doubled from before, potentially reaching over 240,000 pyro per month. While the two were celebrating, there was a knock at the door. Outside was none other than the rabbit girl from that afternoon. She struck Sato on the head again, then shyly confessed that she liked him, leaving Sato utterly bewildered. Right after confessing, the girl hit Sato once more, leaving him even more confused. This time the rabbit girl ran off and dragged in an outsider to hit in the same manner. But with just that one blow, the poor commoner was immediately knocked out. The group from the dungeon that morning then appeared and quickly dragged the unconscious commoner away. The rabbit girl interrogated Sato about why he did not die when struck like that despite being only level 1. Sato did not answer, but instead asked why she had come here. Only then did the rabbit girl pull out a massive carrot. It turned out that Sato had dropped one that afternoon without noticing. The rabbit girl showed great affection for this premium carrot, and seeing many similar ones in their house made her drool even more. Seeing this, Emily gently invited her to eat with them. In the kitchen, Emily quickly prepared the carrots and presented carrot noodles along with bean sprout and carrot soup. The three of them savored the meal delightfully, and Emily was overjoyed to hear their praise. After eating, the rabbit girl bid them farewell and left, leaving Sato in bewilderment once again. Emily thanked Sato, explaining that before she used to eat alone all the time, but now having someone to eat with and a home like this made her very happy. Sato thought to himself that he used to be the same way. The next day, Sato entered Nihonium once more, but this time on the second floor. His opponent was a zombie. The zombie's strength was immense, directly snapping his bamboo stick in half. With no other choice, Sato had to use physical combat to defeat it. Once again, a grain of rice dropped. The grain from this floor upgraded Sato's strength. Just then, the rabbit girl appeared again. After hitting him on the head once more, she questioned him about the item that had just dropped. Sato did not want to explain, and the rabbit girl did not press further. She only demanded that he return to Terrell Dungeon to collect more carrots for her. After Sato agreed, she turned and ran off. By evening, Sato had upgraded his strength to D rank and quickly harvested many carrots to bring to the exchange shop. Inside the shop, the rabbit girl was already waiting. Everyone around kept their distance from her, calling her the killing rabbit. To their astonishment, Sato handed the carrots to her. The exchange girl Urza saw this and immediately rushed over, wanting to buy Sato's carrots at double the price. Urza explained that the rabbit girl was Eve Callisleader, an adventurer wearing a bunny girl outfit with distinctive natural rabbit ears. She was also known as the Carrot Appraiser, and she collected all the carrots from the second floor of Terrell. Urza believed that carrots acknowledged by Eve would definitely skyrocket in price, which was why she wanted to buy them. Thanks to this, Sato collected 15,000 pyro, and his income once again doubled. Seeing Eve wanting more carrots and about to hit him again when refused, Sato this time caught her hand and told her not to call him low level anymore, and that carrots would only be available tomorrow. Though annoyed, Eve still left, not forgetting to remind him to bring carrots tomorrow. The next day, Sato and Emily went to collect carrots on the second floor of Terrell Dungeon once more. They were not alone in the dungeon as there were other people too. Sato witnessed a group operating through exploitation, which unconsciously reminded him of those horrible bosses from his previous life. Emily quickly pulled him back to reality with a boxed lunch. Eve also followed the scent to the second floor of the dungeon, and Emily had specially made carrot pudding just for her. The three happily enjoyed their lunch break in leisure. The group from earlier passed by them, and the old man leading them mocked all three, saying whatever dropped from them must be of very poor quality. Hearing this, Eve immediately charged forward and had the two of them taste Sato's giant carrot. The flavor was indeed wonderful. The old man tried to approach, but was intimidated by Eve's strength and could only leave in frustration. Setting aside this interlude, the three continued enjoying their meal. After leaving the dungeon, Sato and Emily went to exchange the carrots. Urza suggested that if Sato wanted to collect more carrots, he could buy a magic cart. This idea truly appealed to Sato, so the two went to a shop to buy one. The shop owner brought out an excellent one equipped with a monster detection system. Sato and Emily were very satisfied, but the price was too expensive, over 10 million pyro. Even the ordinary ones cost 2 to 3 million pyro. The shop owner kept promoting the product, but Sato really could not afford it, so the two had to leave the shop empty-handed. While walking home, they suddenly heard people shouting about a stray monster. Emily explained that stray monsters were creatures born from dropped dungeon items that were abandoned in unknown places. The monster looked exactly like a gorilla of enormous size, but since it would not drop any items, adventurers did not bother fighting it. Among those fleeing was the elderly shop owner from earlier. At that moment, Urza stumbled and fell while running, leaving her behind. Just as the stray monster was about to throw a punch at her, Sato rushed forward in time to block the blow for her. Eve and her companions also quickly advanced to deal with the monster. Their city had been damaged considerably by this stray monster. Seeing Urza worried, Sato promised to defeat the monster. Over there, everyone was struggling against the gorilla. Sato asked them to help restrain it for a moment. Though the adventurers did not think Sato was reliable, given the circumstances, they complied. The moment the monster was restrained, Sato used his own head to clash against the gorilla's skull. Then, while it was dazed, he delivered a punch straight to the monster's chest, killing it instantly. With the threat eliminated, the citizens rejoiced that the city of Cyclo had been saved and thanked Sato profusely. At that moment, Sato suddenly heard the sound of an item dropping. Although Emily had said stray monsters would not drop items, Sato had already been an exception at Nihonium Dungeon before. Emily accompanied him around the monster's body to search for any drops, and an item glowing with intense light caught their attention. Sato had actually picked up a rifle and some bullets from the monster's body, which appeared to be items dropped by the stray monster. The next day, Sato checked his stats before the dungeon. Though his level remained at the lowest, thanks to the grains he had collected from Nihonium Dungeon, his strength continued to increase steadily. Today Sato brought the rifle to the second floor of Nihonium Dungeon. This time with just 2 shots, he easily took down a zombie, and other monsters that appeared were quickly eliminated as well. Dealing with monsters became much easier thanks to this, but at the same time, collecting ammunition became a new headache. In Terrell Dungeon, while Emily was fighting on the second floor, Sato arrived to support her. The two took a lunch break together. Thanks to the rifle, Sato's strength had reached B rank, and he wanted them to expand their operating area to earn more money. Emily unconsciously went along with and agreed to all of Sato's plans. Eve did not appear today, which they found rather strange, but they did not think much of it since Eve surely did not just eat carrots all day. After resting, the two descended to a new floor of Terrell Dungeon. According to Emily's knowledge, this floor would have small black slimes, and the drops would be pumpkins. In reality, what was called small black slimes were actually a swarm of cockroaches. While Sato was feeling disgusted by the cockroaches crawling on the walls, Emily suddenly showed a very strange reaction, as if she had a certain madness toward cockroaches. She frantically smashed those black slimes aka cockroaches in a completely chaotic manner. Thanks to Emily's cockroach frenzy, they obtained their first pumpkin. Another swarm of cockroaches emerged, and Emily once again activated her dangerous mode, wanting to smash everything immediately. Sato was so scared he broke into a cold sweat and quickly drew his gun to shoot the cockroaches so Emily would not have to step in. After a bout of fighting, they had collected many giant pumpkins. Only then did Eve appear from somewhere asking for carrots, which helped Emily return to her normal mode. After getting carrots, Eve quickly turned and left. Sato and Emily hurriedly carried the pumpkins to the exchange shop and wanted to return to collect more pumpkins to sell, since they could not carry everything at once. But when they returned to that spot, the pumpkins had already been eaten from the inside out by the cockroaches. Emily went mad again and grabbed her weapon to smash them to pieces. Sure enough, a swarm of cockroaches emerged from inside the pumpkin. Sato wanted to charge forward before Emily entered the fray, but this time his gun had run out of bullets, so he had no choice but to let Emily go berserk and destroy everything. Just as he was feeling dejected, dozens of new bullets suddenly appeared from the ground. This was the reward from defeating the stray monster. Back at the exchange shop, Urza explained that if dropped items were left in places without human presence, they would spawn monsters. That was why the cockroaches had appeared. Hearing this, Sato wondered whether the origin of stray monsters was natural or intentional. Urza once again blushed, wanting to ask Sato to hang out. But Sato was so lost in his own thoughts that he left immediately, leaving Urza embarrassed and frustrated. This time Sato brought his carrot to a forest to conduct an experiment. However, before he could do anything, Eve appeared from somewhere and took the carrot. Sato was speechless and had to conduct his experiment a second time. Without Eve coming to interfere, the carrot indeed transformed. It turned into a green slime from the second floor of the dungeon, which Sato then beat to pieces, and it dropped several bullets. His experiment was a success. Sato then remembered the monsters in Nihonium Dungeon and the precious grain items they provided. So the next morning, he entered Nihonium Dungeon again to continue experimenting. Although the idea was good in theory, the grains here could not be taken outside and had to be absorbed immediately, so his plan could not be executed. Just as he was about to leave the dungeon, a skeleton monster appeared. Sato immediately fought it hand to hand and threw it outside the dungeon to see what would happen. The skeleton monster turned to dust the moment it left the dungeon, much to Sato's surprise. Back at the exchange shop, Urza explained that monsters would disappear once they left their dungeons. Otherwise, how could the outside world be as peaceful as it was now? Hearing this gave Sato another idea, and he rushed back to Nihonium Dungeon. He stood at the entrance, waiting for a skeleton monster to appear before throwing it outside. The moment it was about to disappear, he immediately shot it first. Sure enough, this time an item dropped, beautifully named Freeze Bullet. Sato tried loading this bullet and firing it. This unique item could encase whatever was shot in an extremely thick layer of ice. He immediately tested them on the second floor of Terrell Dungeon with Emily, and they proved very useful in blocking attacks from high-speed monsters. Today it rained heavily, and only after the rain stopped did the two carry their carrot harvest home together. Walking along a mountain trail, they happened upon two people arguing intensely. It turned out they had dropped their items down the mountain gorge. The purple-haired girl advised them not to help, as there was a high chance the items would turn into stray monsters, and it would be better to destroy them as soon as possible. But the old man beside her refused because those items could sell for a lot of money. Right after he finished speaking, he was possessed by a Femini ghost monster, a stray monster formed from the dropped items. Sato immediately drew his gun to eliminate the monster and collected several bullets. The purple-haired girl saw the situation was bad and wanted to jump down to buy some time with her own body before the Femini flew outside, as a way of taking responsibility for her mistake. Hearing this, Sato remembered the image of a colleague who was dedicated to work in his previous life, and he wanted to help them. Acting on this thought, Sato immediately loaded the freeze bullets into his gun and fired at the items to freeze them all. Emily also quickly grabbed her hammer and jumped down to smash the items and stray monsters to pieces. Thanks to helping these people, Emily's level also shot up, as Femini was quite a powerful monster after all. The two now had more strength and enthusiasm, feeling that the path ahead was full of hope for them. This time Sato and Emily proceeded to the fourth floor of Terrell Dungeon. They encountered a rare orange slime. Sato did not miss the opportunity and immediately eliminated it, obtaining a sparkling necklace. Sato then gave it to Emily. Before she could feel touched, Sato told her to use it to earn more money. He explained that when the item dropped earlier, there was a slight sound, suggesting this necklace could double the amount of items dropped. Emily felt slightly let down by this clueless guy, but she still used it to deal with the bat monsters on the fourth floor. Sure enough, thanks to the rare item, they collected a large amount of bamboo shoots. Back home, Emily used the bamboo shoots they got from the dungeon to cook a delicious meal. Sato now had some money in hand and felt their house was a bit cramped, so he wanted to move to a better one. Emily thought he wanted to leave her behind alone, but Sato said they would move together to a better place, making her very happy and even more determined to work hard together. After eating, Sato brought the remaining bamboo shoots to the appraisal shop. Just then, a blue-haired girl spotted the bamboo shoots and approached wanting to buy one. After tasting it, she immediately appeared so happy she almost cried because it was so delicious, then expressed her desire to buy all of them. Though Urza had lost out, she was not upset. So Sato sold everything to the other girl and collected 20,000 pyro. After the girl left with the bamboo shoots, Urza told him that she was a gastronome named Eric Macy, and food approved by her would sell at very high prices. Given the situation, Urza immediately expressed her hope that Sato would sign an exclusive contract with them before others approached. After thinking for a moment, Sato agreed, since his bamboo shoots would bear the exclusive name Ryota Bamboo Shoots anyway. After selling the bamboo shoots, Sato returned to Nihonium Dungeon to continue grinding his strength stats. Today on the first floor of the dungeon, he was no longer alone. Princess Margaret was also working there. They were doing this to produce air boxes to sell. Sato thought this was truly the princess effect, no different from modern marketing. Seeing them use air carts, Sato wanted to buy one even more. So he quickly went home and discussed with Emily whether they should prioritize buying a magic cart or moving to a new house first. Emily immediately advised him to buy the magic cart first, since it would help them earn money faster, and buying a house after that would not be too late. Thus, the two decided to stay in this house for a while longer. The next morning, when they arrived at the shop, they heard the cries of Olga, the shop owner's daughter. The little girl sobbed that her father had gone to pick flowers and had not returned. Hearing this, Emily suggested that Orton must have gone to Arsenic Dungeon since that was the only place where flowers dropped. The two immediately went to that dungeon to search for Orton, Olga's father. Emily reminded Sato as they ran into the dungeon not to worry, as the Dante rock monsters here were quite harmless if you did not actively touch them. Sato's gun could not eliminate them, so Emily charged forward with her hammer and her newly upgraded strength. The two quickly proceeded to the next floor and found Mr. Orton sleeping like the dead inside the dungeon. Sato was completely speechless, while Emily was so furious on Olga's behalf that she hit him awake. The old man woke up and explained that he had only come to get heavy rock and light rock to make magic carts, but the current situation seemed quite difficult, as light rock was very hard to collect since it was a soft and light monster that was hard to reach. After thinking for a moment, Sato lifted Emily up so she could try, and thanks to that, Mr. Orton got what he needed. Outside the dungeon, Orton placed the item in a corner and told the other two to hide, as he also wanted to create a stray monster. Emily worried that the light rock might fly up high and be hard to catch. Orton said they needed to catch it before it flew up. The moment the flower transformed back into a light rock, Orton immediately lunged but could not catch it. Sato instantly used his freeze gun to pull it down, allowing the old man to obtain the item he needed. That evening, Orton finished crafting a cart from the light rock and heavy rock and gave it to Sato as a reward for the hero of Cyclo City. After everyone's persuasion, Sato finally accepted the gift. Thanks to the magic cart, they harvested double the usual items. Sato quickly pushed the cart to Urza's shop to exchange for money, only to encounter a scene of a man causing trouble because he thought Urza had shortchanged him. Just as the man was about to attack Urza, Sato quickly stopped him. He temporarily took out the bamboo shoots he had collected today and pushed his magic cart forward. This cart was made from rare monster materials from arsenic and could sense the weight of items placed inside and calculate the exact price. Sato poured all of the old man's onions into the cart, which calculated 8,400 pyro, matching exactly what Urza had calculated earlier. But this only made the man angrier and he wanted to attack Sato. Sato easily blocked his strike and gave him a thunderous slap. After closing time, Urza thanked Sato for his help and even expressed her gratitude with a kiss that made Sato blush bright red. The next day, Sato and Emily continued harvesting bamboo shoots by defeating monsters. Thanks to the magic cart, they had earned enough money to move to a new house. So the two quickly packed their belongings to prepare for the move. Only when packing did they realize how many memories this house held for them. Sato also recalled the days when he had to struggle killing monsters just to afford the rent for this house. After thinking for a moment, Sato decided to keep renting this house, even though they would buy a new one. Emily worried it would be a waste of money, but Sato said they could just work harder to earn more. Thus, the two moved to a new house that was more spacious and beautifully decorated. Early in the morning, Eve had already appeared to join them. The two enjoyed breakfast and prepared for a new day ahead. Another day passed in Cyclo. Emily was happily cooking, very satisfied with her current life, and she hoped her mother in heaven would also feel happy with her. Meanwhile, on a new underground floor of Nihonium Dungeon, Sato had to face new monsters called mummies, a type of monster very difficult to defeat, forcing him to use an entire box of ammunition to destroy one. Sato received the grain that dropped from the monster and gained a speed boost, upgrading from F rank to E rank. Just then, another mummy appeared, giving Sato the opportunity to test his newly buffed body. With just a few quick punches, he was able to eliminate the mummy. Leaving the dungeon, at the exchange shop, Sato was sitting and resting when a red-haired young man suddenly appeared wanting to get acquainted. Before he could say anything, two beautiful girls appeared and clung tightly to him, making Sato feel somewhat annoyed just looking at it. The red-haired young man expressed his desire to have an arm wrestling match with Sato, as he had noticed him since Sato helped Urza the other day. Sato initially did not plan to agree, but because he felt quite annoyed, he immediately accepted the challenge. From the very start, both Sato and the young man were surprised by each other's considerable strength. The match was extremely intense as both sides had equal strength, but after a while, Sato finally managed to defeat the red-haired young man. From the crowd, we learned that this red-haired young man was named Neptune, apparently from the famous Neptune family in Cyclo City, and his confidence came from having a rank strength. Neptune was not discouraged and immediately wanted a rematch, but Sato quickly refused. Without another word, Neptune stood up wanting to ambush Sato, but with his speed, Sato quickly countered and sent the young man flying. Neptune then stood up again, smiled, and invited Sato to work under his family. That evening, Sato recounted what happened at the exchange shop and mentioned that he had declined the offer. He preferred the peaceful life with Emily here rather than working under someone else. Eve was also there eating carrots. She remarked that Sato was a fool who did not know how to seize opportunities, but Emily felt Sato was a very good person, and acting this way made him a true hero. These words made Sato happy until the next day. Today, upon entering Nihonium Dungeon, Sato once again encountered Princess Margaret's group. This time they had invented a new Pandora box, a device that could collect items dropped after defeating monsters. They gave Sato a few boxes to try and spread the word to other colleagues. Sato initially wanted to refuse since he did not want to take them for free, but remembering the grains that were passively absorbed and could not be taken outside, he quickly accepted. Sure enough, thanks to the Pandora box, Sato was now able to bring the grains outside. He quickly used these grains to create many stray monsters, thereby harvesting a large amount of freeze bullets. After rejoicing, he thought of something and quickly returned to the dungeon. A while later, Emily was bringing the magic cart in when she found Sato doing something right outside the entrance. She witnessed the Pandora box release two monsters, a mummy and a zombie, which were stray monsters from items on the 3rd and 4th floors of Nihonium Dungeon. Sato quickly dealt with both stray monsters and received two new types of bullets, a flame bullet and a recovery bullet. Lost in joy, Sato frantically harvested more new bullets. Just then, he suddenly felt a chill down his spine, a strange sensation as if a whirlwind had just passed through. Only then did Emily remember why she had come here, reporting that the Monostorm had arrived. While heading to the exchange shop, Sato asked Urza what he needed to buy for the Monostorm. Urza explained that the Monostorm was a rather rare natural phenomenon that encompassed the entire city and dungeons, and when it arrived, magic would become nearly unusable. Therefore, those who specialized in magic would not operate during this time, and everyone had to go buy supplies to stockpile. While they were talking, a young man suddenly walked in, anxiously seeking help. Emily recognized him as Reyes. His teammate Rosa was trapped in Silicone, a dungeon that mages frequented. Because the Monostorm was coming, very few people could assist him. Neptune then appeared, saying the monsters in Silicone were troublesome because nothing could harm them except magic, so no one here could save the kid. After an internal struggle, Sato decided to step forward and agree to help Reyes. Thus, Sato quickly entered the first underground floor of Silicone. The first group of monsters was easily handled by Sato's flame bullets, giving him some confidence. Though the path ahead had many monsters, Sato continued pressing forward. Outside, Emily and Eve had just returned and learned what Sato had done. Inside the dungeon, Sato had reached the 3rd underground floor. After running for a while, he found a girl who was severely injured, apparently Rosa. Just as the situation became critical, more monsters appeared, but Sato had run out of flame bullets. Upon hearing the news, Eve and Emily immediately wanted to rush to the dungeon to find Sato. Eve went to ensure her carrot supply, while Emily went because she felt Sato was very similar to her mother from years ago, an extremely kind person. But that mother had died fighting a stray monster, so she did not want Sato to suffer the same fate. On his end, Sato had no choice but to carry Rosa on his back and flee, as his regular bullets were no match for those monsters. Just then, Emily and Eve caught up, and they had even brought mummies from Nihonium Dungeon to help Sato obtain more ammunition. Thus, the three quickly dealt with the insect monsters in the dungeon. Late that night, Reyes finally saw Rosa being brought back by Sato's group after waiting so long. Reyes worried that she could not be healed during the mana storm, so Sato used a recovery bullet on her. After a while, Rosa finally stabilized, and both parties bid farewell. The three of them, Emily, Eve, and Sato, returned home together, ending an exhausting long day. A new day passed. Today Sato wanted Urza to appraise the watermelons he had just harvested from the dungeon. But just as Urza was about to appraise them, Eric appeared once again. After tasting a piece, Eric immediately shed tears because it was so delicious, saying it reminded her of when she was traveling by the sea. Others heard this and knew these watermelons were produced by the Ryota bamboo shoot producer, so they also gathered around wanting to try. Seeing this, Urza once again wanted to sign an exclusive contract for these Ryota watermelons. Sato was also very pleased to hear this, as it meant another new source of income. Urza then remembered that watermelons had to be obtained from the 5th floor of Terrell Dungeon. She reminded him that to be allowed to proceed to the 6th floor and beyond, he would need to obtain a permit, since the deeper you went, the higher the difficulty. In Cyclo, permits were required for each tier, with a different permit for every 5 floors. Hearing this, Sato immediately went with Emily to a certain villa to inquire about where to obtain permits. The man asked about Sato's achievements. Sato recalled what Urza had taught him and immediately said he was a regular supplier of watermelons from the 5th floor. The man slowly picked up a bunch of keys and a melon. The three entered a large room, and the man explained that the melon was an item dropped from the 6th floor and beyond of Terrell Dungeon. If Sato wanted the permit, he had to defeat the stray monster that the melon was about to transform into. After waiting for a while, a silver slime finally appeared. It was a steel slime, a species so hard that blades and swords were useless against it. Sato first used his S-rank strength to attack. Though he pushed the monster back, his hand turned red. Sato then switched to his gun, first shooting a flame bullet at the steel slime, then using a freeze bullet to stop it. Once the monster was frozen, Sato simply gave it a light tap, and the slime shattered along with the ice. He had applied the physical principle of uneven temperature change to deal with this metal slime. The man immediately passed Sato, granting him the 6th floor permit. Holding the 6th level badge in his hand, Sato was not immediately happy, but instead thought of some plan in his head. A few days later, the two traveled to a deserted area, placed a tuna in the middle, then hid. It was a tuna worth 1.5 million pyro that Sato had caught, and he wanted to conduct an experiment. After a while, the tuna transformed into a stray monster, the giant gorilla that had previously attacked Cyclo City. Sato quickly ran out and used freeze bullets to stop it, then jumped up and used regular bullets to deal with the gorilla. After a while, the sound of an item dropping appeared. Sato had successfully completed his experiment. Inside was a new gun and bullets, so now he had 2 guns. Emily worriedly advised Sato not to go down the evil path of the underworld. After obtaining 2 guns, Sato entered the exchange shop and found Urza looking dejected. She explained that the only place in the city that dropped rice, the 6th floor of Silicone Dungeon, was being occupied by the Adalbard gang, who were demanding extremely high purchase prices. Hearing this, Sato immediately went to Silicone Dungeon to see if he could negotiate. There he met the handsome Neptune again. Neptune explained that he had been requested to come here since the Adalbard gang had pulled this trick too many times, and the Neptune family came to eliminate them. Hearing this, Sato immediately wanted to take on the mission of driving them away rather than eliminating them. Sato quickly entered the dungeon and was surrounded by a group of gang members. Without hesitation, he drew both guns and fired. The 2 bullets combined and shot forward, not killing them but putting them to sleep. Sato explained to Neptune that they were recovery bullets, and when 2 were combined, they created knockout bullets. It turned out that after obtaining the 2 guns, Sato and Emily had entered Arsenic Dungeon to test them, learning that combining different bullet types would create many new abilities. Thus, those people were dragged outside by Sato and Neptune and captured. Sato was invited to a room where he was received by Clint Gray, the dungeon chief of Cyclo, a person of considerable status. He wanted Sato's help in the battle for dungeons with the neighboring city of Hetero. All dungeons east of Cyclo dropped meat, while Hetero was a livestock city. The 2 cities had decided that if a dungeon dropped more vegetables, it would belong to Cyclo and vice versa. But at this time, a new dungeon had appeared between the 2 cities with a 50-50 drop rate of meat and vegetables, so both were fiercely competing for it. as this issue also involved taxes and finances for both sides. Given the situation, both sides had decided to determine ownership based on rare items dropped. Gray specifically wanted Sato to participate. If unsuccessful, he would still receive a bag of gold. But if he found a rare dropped item, he would be completely exempt from taxes. Sato naturally could not refuse and immediately began thinking about the plan ahead. That evening, Sato told Emily everything. Emily was very happy for him and promised to watch the house carefully so he could leave without worry. Sato instead wanted Emily to come with him. Eve was also there, so he had to promise to provide enough carrots while he was away. The next day, the two began their journey to the designated location. Emily then drew something on the ground, wanting to use it to cheer up anyone who happened to pass by, and Sato joined her in drawing. After a while, they continued on their way. By evening, Emily set up the tent while Sato went to fetch water to rest. In no time, Emily had arranged a cozy tent that looked no different from their home in Cyclo City, which made Sato even more touched and happy. After eating, Emily went out to burn the trash, because their food was all items, and if not finished, it had to be burned, otherwise it would become stray monsters. Moreover, stray monsters made from trash would be much stronger than normal monsters. Hearing this, Sato immediately wanted to try defeating a trash-made stray monster to see if he could get any new items. Thus, the two sat in a corner waiting. Sure enough, the pile of trash transformed into a Frankenstein monster. Emily jumped up wanting to subdue it, but her hammer was caught by the monster. Sato used flame bullets, but they had no effect. Seeing this, he immediately took out his other gun and fired a double flame burst forward. The monster was destroyed, and Sato obtained a new item. The next day, they created a new slime monster, giving Sato the opportunity to use the green bullet obtained from the Frankenstein. It turned out that from that monster, they had obtained a homing bullet, a weapon that would chase its target until it hit. After a day and a night, the two arrived at Sarin dungeon located between the two cities, a place bustling with people buying and selling goods. Sato and Emily saw a large garbage dump. Before they could worry, a girl with long black hair used her flames to destroy the garbage. Even so, her power did not seem to keep up with the rate at which people here were dumping trash. Worried that the girl would not be able to handle it, Sato immediately wanted to help her. Emily advised the girl not to push herself so hard, but before she could finish speaking, the girl had already collapsed from exhaustion. After resting for a moment, the girl tried to stand up again, wanting to continue her task. Sato felt this scene was no different from his previous life working overtime until he died. Without another word, he immediately used his knockout bullet to put her to sleep temporarily. After an unknown amount of time, when the sun was about to set, the girl finally woke up. She anxiously ran out to the garbage pile and saw that several stray monsters had already appeared. Sato quickly used his gun to destroy them. It turned out that Sato and Emily had taken over her task of burning trash. After all, Sato could get bullets from this task, so it was not a loss at all. Seeing that she had awakened, the two quickly invited her into the tent to enjoy dinner together. To make burning trash more convenient, Emily had already moved their tent closer to this collection area. Upon tasting the delicious food, the girl immediately shed tears, and Sato also felt empathetic and teared up. Only then did they learn that her name was Celeste. Thanks to her, they discovered that because the dungeon had not yet been decided which side it belonged to, items from it were still tax-free, which was why so many adventurers had gathered here during this time, and the trash had increased significantly. Celeste also said she did this because it was the only job she had left to do, then immediately fell asleep after speaking. After a full day of rest, Celeste was recharged with energy, and her trash burning speed became much faster. Before the day was over, she had already finished burning everything. Emily was still worried about her and suggested that Celeste could stay and eat and rest with them for a few days. Touched by this, Celeste nodded in agreement. Temporarily splitting up, Emily and Sato went for a walk outside the dungeon trading area. The two stopped at a shop selling beautiful jewelry, but they could only look. Returning to work, Sato went to a large tent to meet someone named Duke, the Cyclo representative in charge of this place. Duke brought out the map of Sarin dungeon. This place had opened up to the 10th floor, with odd floors dropping vegetables and even floors dropping meat. Since neither side could determine a winner, both decided to compete to see who could obtain more rare items in a short time. The adventurers were all searching for rare monsters on the vegetable dropping floors waiting for Sato, as they needed people with high potential and efficiency. At that moment, someone ran in to report that a rare monster had appeared on the first underground floor. In the dungeon, everyone had found a way to hold down this rare monster. Not only were Cyclo's people here, but also those from Hetero, who had used many tricks to prevent Cyclo from obtaining rare items. Without another word, Sato drew his gun and quickly eliminated the monster. But it seemed this monster had very strong regeneration abilities, even growing larger after each resurrection. This time no one could hold the monster anymore, and the Hetero side wanted to seize this opportunity to rush forward and steal the rare item. But before they could do anything, Sato had already used his homing bullet to strike the monster's core. Thus, Cyclo was temporarily leading Hetero by one item. Leaving the dungeon, Duke gave Sato a thick deposit along with some soybeans. That evening, Sato returned to the tent and told Emily what had happened that morning, then took out a box and gave it to her. Sato had bought the ring that Emily had loved that morning and gave it to her as a small token of gratitude for all her help. Emily was very happy and touched. The next day, when checking her stats, Emily was amazed to see that all her stats had increased by 1 rank. Sato then revealed that when he bought the ring, he was curious and had tried creating a stray monster from that ring worth over 1 million pyro. After defeating that monster, what dropped from the ring was an identical ring but with special effects. After confirming she had become stronger, Emily accompanied Sato to the second floor of Sarin dungeon. The monster that appeared this time was a treant. Emily immediately swung her axe and charged forward, quickly defeating it and obtaining a chicken breast. She was very happy because dropping meat or animal products was extremely rare for Emily, as her animal drop rate was only F. Just then, the Hetero group was also struggling with a rare monster. One swing of its arm caused Emily to lose more than half her HP bar. Sato was about to raise his gun to eliminate the monster, but the Hetero people had already rushed forward wanting to take down this treant beard to collect the rare item. Sato immediately stopped. His drop rate was too high, and killing the monster would be like shooting himself in the foot. Seeing Sato hesitate, the old man Harvard immediately ordered his subordinates to rush up and deal with it. Seeing this, Emily immediately took off her ring and gave it to Sato before charging forward in his place. Sato immediately understood. He quickly loaded freeze bullets into his gun and shot at the rare monster, creating an opportunity for Emily to kill it. Thanks to her F-rank animal drop rate, no items dropped at all, and the Hetero group had no choice but to leave. Hearing the news, Duke happily invited Sato back to the tent to thank him and Emily. Afterward, he reminded them that Hetero's reinforcements would arrive tonight with triple the numbers. They wanted to stuff people into all the odd floors where vegetables dropped to obstruct Cyclo from obtaining rare items. Sato advised Duke to raise the rare monster hunting reward very high, around 10 million pyro, and let him kill the monsters. That way, the drop rate would increase. Duke was silent for a moment, then agreed. Thus, Sato quickly ran up each odd floor and collected rare monsters and rare vegetable items from each floor. Thanks to his gun as a weapon, Sato achieved great success, securing the advantage for Cyclo. After finishing, Sato took his magic cart to earn some extra money from this dungeon. Just then, the Hetero group approached him. The red-haired young man was furious and wanted revenge on Sato for making them lose their profit. One of them used magic on Sato to prevent him from using his gun. Then they wanted to teach him a lesson before leaving. But when they charged at him, one by one they were all sent flying by Sato. He drew his gun and fired continuously. If the Monostorm could still be used, then what did the magic of some weakling amount to? After defeating them, Sato gently switched to recovery bullets to heal these people, then pushed his cart and left the dungeon. Returning to the tent, Sato was warmly welcomed by Emily and Celeste, ending an exhausting workday. That evening, Emily prepared a table full of food to serve everyone. Though victory was certain, without an official decision, Sarin Dungeon still did not completely belong to Cyclo. So until there was an official announcement, Sato and Emily could not leisurely return home. Emily brought out cake and ice cream to treat everyone, ending a long day. The next morning, Sato woke up to see Celeste burning something. She continuously unleashed her power to deliver large attacks, only to collapse from exhaustion. Fortunately, Sato arrived in time to catch her. He quickly gave her a recovery bullet. After temporarily stabilizing, Celeste noticed they were in a very intimate position, which made her feel extremely embarrassed and flustered, taking a while to calm down. Seeing she was fine, Sato asked what had happened. It was just a little trash, so why did she have to use magic like that? Celeste explained that she could only use her power that way. level 3 fire magic. Inferno was the only thing she knew. She could not use level 1 or level 2. Just then, there was another pile of trash that needed burning. Sato used his flame bullets to help her save her energy. But after a round of everyone's trading, a new pile of trash appeared, feeling like no matter how much they burned, it never decreased. Celeste felt there was more trash today than usual, probably because the dungeon master had appeared. Once a month, the dungeon master, would appear. It was a very strong and dangerous monster, so the dungeon would be closed to entry and exit. Because of this, people would eat more and produce more trash. Sato advised Celeste to rest and said he would take care of everything. Understanding his intention, Emily immediately pulled Celeste back to the tent to rest. Easier said than done, but the next day passed and another pile of trash had formed. Emily reminded both of them that the subjugation team had been formed, so Sato decided to go out and scout the situation to see how those above would handle things. Celeste felt Sato treated her too well. Emily smiled and said Sato was a very good person who never ignored those in difficulty, having been that way since Cyclo. Sato had just arrived at Duke's tent when he found Neptune was also there. His family had come to take responsibility for subjugating the dungeon master. Neptune said there were some troublesome issues in the dungeon. Duke explained that according to the agreement with Hetero, when the dungeon master appeared, both sides would have to join hands to form a subjugation team. But currently, Hetero had not nominated any members because the current situation was favorable to them. If the dungeon master existed for long, it would sometimes change the ecosystem in the dungeon, which could change the items, forcing both sides battle for the dungeon back to square one. Sato immediately wanted to volunteer to go alone, but this was impossible because according to the agreement, only 3 adventurers with a rank stats or higher were allowed to enter the dungeon. Sato wanted Neptune to go with him, but his family had come under contract and could not act on their own. Sato did not give up and wanted to go out to find help. But truly no one here was strong enough to dare face the dungeon master. Just as Sato was dejectedly returning to the tent, he saw Emily already holding her hammer wanting to go with him. But even so, 2 people could not form a team. At this point, Celeste stepped forward, saying she would also participate. As for burning trash, she had found someone to help. That person turned out to be Eugene. Not only the kid, but those who had fought with Sato before also came to support them. Though they had solved the numbers issue, quality was truly a difficult problem, as everyone needed a rank stats or higher to enter the dungeon. After checking, Celeste had a rank intelligence and spirit, enough to enter the dungeon with everyone. Thus, the 3 of them began entering the first underground floor of Sarin dungeon. When the dungeon master appeared, other monsters would disappear, so it was understandable that the dungeon was quiet. Just then, a large explosion rang out, and behind them appeared a large horse-shaped monster with a pair of horns. It was a bighorn, a creature that had tainted pure bloodlines. Emily volunteered to attack with her hammer, but the dungeon master had extremely strong defense and sent her flying. Sato's homing bullets also could not harm it. Celeste then stepped forward and used her level 3 Inferno to surround the monster, creating an opportunity for Sato to use his gun to shatter the defensive shield around its body. Emily seized this opportunity to swing her hammer again, and Sato also fired continuous shots. But after a few seconds of taking hits, the monster created another new shield. At least this time they had a chance, and the 3 continued wanting to use the same method. Outside, upon hearing that Sato had entered the dungeon, Neptune just smiled in praise, while Duke was extremely worried about all 3 of them. On their end, Bighorn was truly a resilient monster. This time it was preparing to unleash a new attack. Everyone standing within the monster's power range had their HP and strength reduced by 2 ranks. Emily, being closest, still managed to break through its defense before being knocked back. Among the 3, Celeste's magic power had been depleted so she could no longer attack. Seeing this, Sato told Emily to stay and support Celeste while he would find a way to deal with the monster. Celeste felt extremely guilty for not being able to help and being a burden. But Sato said she had done her best and was also very strong, which gave Celeste more strength. On his end, while Sato was struggling, Celeste once again used Inferno to burn away Bighorn's defensive layer. Sato took Emily's hammer and charged forward, delivering a powerful blow to the monster. With the combination of all 3, the dungeon master of Sarin dungeon finally fell. Everyone approached to check on Celeste and thanked her for trying so hard. Sato then took out the item dropped from the bighorn and gave it to Celeste. It was an item that allowed her to use level 1 magic without limit. Receiving this gift, Celeste could not hold back her tears. After everything was done, the three went to report their progress to Duke. He was shocked to hear this news and immediately sent adventurers to check the ecosystem in the dungeon. Neptune's two friends came to congratulate them, while Neptune was talking with Old Man Harvard from Hetero. With just a few sweet words from Neptune, the old man had to submit. The next day, thanks to the rare item that Sato and Emily had given her, Celeste could now use level 1 magic, and Sarin dungeon also belonged to Cyclo. Given this positive development, Sato also invited Celeste to come live with him and Emily. Since they already called each other teammates, Celeste happened to wish for the same thing, and the three happily formed a team called the Ryota family. At Sato's house, Eve was eating carrots, but since they were not from Sato, they did not taste good at all. Meanwhile, outside, Sato and Emily were taking Celeste on a tour of Cyclo. They met Urza, who was also out for a walk, and Sato introduced Celeste to her, mentioning that they were preparing to establish a team called the Ryota family. Seeing such a beauty standing next to Sato made Urza feel threatened about her position, so she rambled on for a bit, then quickly ran off. From Urza's words, they learned that Cyclo would soon have a harvest festival, an annual celebration where all products obtained from Cyclo's dungeons would be collected and displayed. Then the stray monsters that emerged from those items would fight each other so common people could have a chance to watch. Sato brought all three to the outside of Nihonium dungeon. A few days ago, he had frequently visited the 3rd floor to upgrade his speed to S rank, then went to the 4th floor to defeat monsters and gain the opportunity to increase his stamina. All those grains were collected by Sato into the Pandora box and brought outside to create stray monsters. The moment they transformed, Sato immediately charged forward to Celeste's amazement. This time they harvested control bullets, a very interesting spoil of war. Sato asked Celeste not to tell anyone the secret that he could obtain spoils from stray monsters. Just then, a loud explosion drew all three back to the city. From the crowd, they learned that another stray monster had appeared and was destroying civilian areas. The city once again fell into ruins. This time the monster had an extremely bizarre form. Sato and everyone immediately charged forward to eliminate it, each using their strongest attacks, but none seemed to work against this stray monster. Seeing Emily being blocked, Sato risked himself charging forward using physical attacks to help her escape danger. While it was sent flying, he loaded the control bullet into his gun and shot at the monster. Thanks to this, the stray monster was subdued, making it easier to deal with, and the reward was a box full of bullets. Sato and Celeste approached Emily. Due to the monster's attack, Emily's beloved hammer had its handle broken. Sato immediately comforted her by promising to take her to buy a new hammer, since there was no other way to fix it. That night, Eve was shocked to learn that the person who had eliminated the stray monster that afternoon was Sato. The next morning, the three met a weapon merchant named Smith, or rather, this person had come to find them. Smith had received news about the three fighting the stray monster and Emily's hammer breaking, so he offered to sponsor her a new hammer. After all, the Ryota family had made great contributions in the Sarin dungeon incident, so sponsoring them would benefit both sides. Since it was free, Emily immediately agreed to accept the offer from this weapon merchant. Today Sato still brought his magic cart to Nihonium dungeon and met Princess Margaret's group. The uncle sadly mentioned that Pandora boxes had not been selling well lately. Sato suggested they could sell rings or jewelry instead, which would suit their image. Just then, Princess Margaret's side was having difficulty with some skeleton spirits. Without a word, Sato drew his gun to assist them. After dealing with everything, the princess and everyone thanked Sato for his support, saying that if they managed to craft rings later, they would give him the first one as a keepsake. Back at their house, Emily was testing the hammer handle that Smith had brought when Eve came in wanting to meet Sato. Hearing Emily say Sato was at Nihonium dungeon, she immediately disappeared to follow. In Terrell dungeon, Sato was very satisfied with the new item obtained from yesterday's stray monster battle, which was a storage box similar to the Pandora box. He continued grinding without knowing that in Nihonium dungeon, Eve was frantically searching for him. After searching with no results, Eve dejectedly went to Urza's exchange shop to find him. Sato returned a while later with a pile of bamboo shoots in his cart. Seeing Urza, Sato asked about the task she wanted him to do at the Harvest Festival. Urza explained that they wanted Sato to search for rare items and sell them back to them. Sato readily agreed and received a notebook containing rare items that had yet to be found. Sato's payment today was 40,000 pyro. because the person in charge of the dungeon that dropped money had been arrested for bribery. The currency system was still frozen, and most of the money people received was cash. Only then did Sato learn that the money everyone exchanged also came from dungeons. Thinking this, he immediately took this money out to turn it into a stray monster. After waiting for a while, a bird monster indeed appeared. He quickly used his gun to deal with the bird and collected a potion that tripled the plant drop rate for 10 minutes. This was truly a good item, but since he was already at S rank, it did not seem very useful for him. At this moment, Eve finally found him, painfully begging for some carrots. Having no choice, Sato went to the second floor of Terrell Dungeon to get carrots for her. Currently, Eve no longer operated with her previous group, as she only needed carrots, but those people wanted more than that. Eve did not care much, believing she was strong enough on her own without needing teammates. Going back to the past, young Eve once lived with other rabbit people on the 16th floor of Mangan Dungeon. Back then, she loved eating meat and hated vegetables. After arguing with everyone and leaving, Eve killed a monster and encountered a strange boy who had dropped from the monster's body. Just then, a giant monster appeared, the Death Buffalo. The boy was confused and did not understand anything, but Eve charged forward and quickly eliminated the monster. The boy greatly admired Eve's talent and wanted to learn from her, so the two quickly went around the dungeon's underground floors to cooperate in killing monsters. Eve would deal 90% of the damage, and the boy only needed to land the final blow. What dropped from the monster this time was still a carrot. Eve did not want to eat it, but the boy without a word immediately broke it in half and stuffed it into Eve's mouth. Eve tried to resist, but unexpectedly, this carrot tasted so good that she immediately accepted the boy as her teammate. But right at that moment, the boy vanished without a word, with only his voice echoing until it completely disappeared. Eve recounted this to Sato. Thanks to that boy, she became a rabbit who loved carrots, but he had disappeared, some teammate that was. Eve also could not find carrots herself because her plant drop rate was only D, making the carrots taste terrible. Hearing this, Sato took out the potion he had just obtained and gave it to her, which raised her plant drop rate to a rank. Eve immediately killed a slime to test it. Sure enough, this time a big carrot dropped, and it tasted great. She excitedly wanted to buy this potion. Sato briefly explained that this was not something you could just buy. Thus, Eve immediately knelt down wanting Sato to accept her as a teammate, so she would have the potion. Due to Eve's persistence, Sato had to agree, and so their house now had a new member. Emily had just shown off her new sword, and upon hearing that Eve would also become a member, she was overjoyed. A new day passed. Sato had just opened his eyes and saw that everyone was already awake, except Celeste, who did not seem well and had a headache. Celeste explained this was due to the Mana Storm's effects, which seriously affected the physical condition of magic users. Hearing this, Sato decided to stay home with everyone and wait for the storm to pass. He also wanted to find a house that could withstand the Mana Storm's effects. Thus, Smith introduced all four of them to another new house. Upon entering, Celeste's condition quickly improved. This house had the best Mana Storm protection technology, and the space was also very suitable. However, because of this, the rent was higher than normal, around 400,000 pyro per month. Without hesitation, Sato immediately secured this house, since both Emily and Celeste were happy here, so spending a bit more money was fine. Thus, all four moved to a new place, and Emily also tidied up the house extremely quickly. The Cyclo Harvest Festival was approaching, so Sato wanted to review the list of valuable rare products that Urza had given him before, then go down to the 7th floor of Terrell to hunt rare monsters, and along the way, harvest carrots for Eve. Everyone quickly gathered at the breakfast table to prepare for an energetic new day. After eating, Sato and everyone arrived at the 7th floor of Terrell Dungeon. This place had dungeon snow and a space no different from outside. On the way, everyone encountered the group with the old man from a few days ago. He was holding an onion, pretending to cry and continuously saying touching words, making his two followers immediately moved and more obedient to him. Sato immediately understood that this old man was using psychological manipulation to brainwash them, no different from his terrible boss in his previous life. After walking for a while, they encountered the slimes of this floor. They were gut slimes, a type that becomes invincibly strong when near death and no longer takes damage from whoever dealt damage before. So two people were needed, one to whittle down health and one to finish. Celeste suggested that the three of them would handle whittling down health so Sato could be the finisher. The food dropped on the 6th floor was onions. Eve was not very excited. but Emily had already thought of a dish for tonight. Sato was relaxing when another slime attacked him. It was a high-guts slime, although it still needed someone to finish it. Once it entered its invincible state, it would reflect all attacks received, so everyone needed to be extremely careful from start to finish. Eve had fought it once before, so she charged forward to whittle its health for Sato to finish. What dropped from that monster was a blue gemstone, equipment effective at reflecting part of attacks. Sato quickly brought the gemstone to the second floor to test it. Thanks to it, he could eliminate slimes just by standing still. Sato felt this item was decent, but to be effective, he would rather fight himself, so he decided to exchange it with Urza. After receiving the gemstone, Urza was overjoyed and gave them a reward of 3 million pyro, since prices for buying and selling would increase rapidly before the harvest festival. Everyone happily left, not noticing a girl who had just entered the exchange shop immediately wanting to find teammates, despite being rejected time and time again. Sato then continued to the 5th floor of Nihonium Dungeon to fight a new type of skeleton monster. This monster was very fast, but Sato with his S-rank speed could still eliminate it. The harvest from this monster was a grain that increased magic power. Only then did Sato remember he had never learned magic, so he spent 3 million pyro to buy a magic fruit, something that would teach whoever ate it a random magic spell. Sato did not rush to eat it. He wanted to let it turn into a stray monster first to see what would happen. After a while, the magic fruit immediately transformed into a stray monster, a white mass that could replicate opponents with metal. Sato charged forward to confront it. This was a monster that could copy him, but was very hard and strong, so he had to use magic bullets to eliminate it. The stray monster transformed back into the magic fruit, and Sato without hesitation put it in his mouth. Thanks to upgrading the magic fruit, Sato not only learned magic, but learned 2 types. Sato tested them. First was the level 1 wind attribute magic called Wind Blade. As for the second magic, the 3 found some slimes to test on. After Celeste dealt a blow to it, Sato quickly cast some magic on the monster, then let Emily deliver the final blow. When the monster was killed, it dropped many potatoes. It turned out that for monsters enchanted by Sato, whoever killed them would have a drop rate similar to his. Sato felt this type of magic was not very useful, but Emily upon testing realized that thanks to that spell, she had leveled up a bit. It turned out that with that magic, people other than Sato could finish off monsters, and the one who finished would also level up. Hearing this, Sato became happy again. This way they could grind points and experience together. Another day, while Sato was on his way to Nihonium Dungeon, he met Urza walking on the road and helped her carry things to the exchange shop. Just then, they encountered the girl from the other day who was happy to have found teammates. But the person who recruited her was the evil old man from before. Urza briefly explained the situation. After hearing it, Sato immediately rushed forward to intervene, expressing his desire to recruit the girl as his teammate. Seeing this, Urza immediately came to help, reminding the girl that the Ryota family was currently very famous, and anyone who got in should consider themselves extremely lucky. People around also discussed them, so the girl started leaning toward joining Sato's team, and the old man had no choice but to leave in frustration. The girl's name was Alice. Sato took her to the front of Nihonium Dungeon to check her stats first. As rumored, her stats were not very promising, but Sato was confident he could support her. He took Alice into the dungeon. She seemed very nostalgic, as she had been born in that dungeon. Moreover, this girl Alice seemed to be able to sense monsters and easily led them to where the most monsters were. After his surprise, Sato used his gun to control the monsters and gave Alice the opportunity to kill them and level up. Thanks to this, Alice easily eliminated monsters and quickly leveled up to level 2, which was also her maximum level. Alice wanted to go back into the dungeon because earlier she had heard a skeleton monster calling her. Sato was surprised but went in with her. Alice asked Sato to control a certain skeleton monster, saying that very monster had told her to do so. After she eliminated that monster, its body suddenly shrank and ran toward Alice. Alice understood its language and named it Boney, saying Boney wanted to help them fight monsters. Thus, the 3 went to Terrell Dungeon for Boney to practice fighting slimes. At this point, Alice heard another monster named Slimy calling her. Boney grew large again and headed toward it to help Alice take down that slime. The green slime, like Boney, shrank and approached Alice wanting to be her teammate. That evening, Sato introduced Alice to everyone and mentioned that she would become a new member of the family. Celeste really liked Bony and Slimy, and everyone immediately agreed to let her join the group. A new day arrived. Sato had just woken up and found only Emily at home. Eve and Celeste had already gone to the dungeon since morning, while Alice was at their old house because Bony and Slimy were still afraid of Celeste. Emily did not go to the dungeon because today was the Harvest Festival, and she planned to walk around with Alice after lunch. Hearing this, Sato expressed his desire to join them. At this time, the streets were extremely bustling with many lively stalls, from food vendors to game booths and trading posts. Seeing Emily happily looking around like this made Sato happy for her too. The two first headed to a jewelry stall where Sato bought her a bell of Emily's choosing so she could hang it on her hammer. After walking around for a while, the two quickly arrived at the park to wait for Alice. A moment later, Alice came running breathlessly and told them that a very strange stall had appeared at the Harvest Festival in the city, displaying alkyl products and selling cheap experience points. Sato and Emily followed her to that stall. The stall owner approached them and explained that Alkyl Dungeon had a very interesting monster called Mecky Mouse, and defeating it would grant a large amount of experience points. Not only that, if they took these boxes containing items from that dungeon and left them somewhere, after a while, a stray Mecky Mouse would appear, and defeating it would help them level up very quickly. Hearing this, Sato agreed to buy a box to try and lead the other two to a less crowded place to experiment. In an instant, the box released a Mecky Mouse. Sato quickly stepped forward and used his gun to fire control bullets to trap this mouse monster, then cast his preset enchantment on it. Once done, Emily immediately grabbed her hammer and charged forward to eliminate the monster. In a moment, the monster was destroyed, and the item that dropped was a new type of bullet with a dreamy purple color. Sato explained to Alice that thanks to his preset magic, even though Emily was the one who killed the monster, the drops would still be calculated according to his drop rate. They did this so Sato could get items while Emily also leveled up, a win-win solution. This time they obtained an enhancement bullet. Sato immediately tested it by shooting the bullet forward. It turned out this bullet had the effect of enhancing the power of the next bullet in the magazine, rather than having attack capabilities itself. The three immediately returned to the city wanting to buy more experience point boxes to get more bullets and level up faster. But right at that moment, a stray monster appeared from somewhere at the festival and was injuring a little girl. Seeing this scene, Sato quickly jumped up and kicked the monster. Emily also grabbed her hammer and charged forward to give him the opportunity to save the girl. This stray monster had the characteristic of absorbing attacks to become stronger, so after each hit, it quickly grew stronger. Due to Emily and Sato's attacks, its size had increased many times over. At this moment, Neptune also appeared with his teammates. Seeing them, Sato immediately proposed that both sides cooperate to fight the stray monster. Hearing this, Neptune smiled with satisfaction and stepped back. His two teammates, Lur and Ran, quickly used their magic to give Neptune wings that could fly high. Sato, Emily, Neptune, Lur, and Ran joined forces to slay the monster. First Sato with control bullets, Emily attacking, and Neptune delivering the decisive blow. The monster was eliminated, and everything returned to normal. Only then did Sato and the others reunite with Celeste and Eve. The two of them had returned after collecting all the carrots at Terrell Dungeon, and sensing Sato was in danger, they came here. On his end, Neptune still did not give up trying to recruit Sato to his family. Sato remained unwavering and declined for the second time, so both sides quickly bid farewell there. After the full reunion, all five decided to head to a food stall to rest first, and then fully enjoy the festival. After eating, they were strolling on the street when Alice sensed many monsters in a corner of the city. Celeste explained it was at the arena, where they must be fighting as part of the festival. Participation was in teams of 2, and the prize would be a rare item. Hearing this, Sato wanted to participate and temporarily teamed up with Celeste to enter the arena. The whole group quickly moved to the arena to join the crowd watching the matches. Sato and Celeste stood on the arena floor, facing a gut slime from Terrell Dungeon. After Celeste whittled down its health, Sato quickly stepped forward to finish off the opponent. They played happily until evening. When the party ended, Celeste took out the item gifted from the afternoon match. It was a box of fireworks, and everyone played together joyfully. Just then, Alice suddenly seemed to have her soul drained and moved like a puppet, continuously walking in one direction in a daze. Thanks to Sato stopping her, she slowly calmed down. Alice felt someone was calling her, so the group decided to investigate the next day. The next morning, Sato went to meet Gray at the dungeon chief's invitation. After greetings, Gray said that since yesterday, the dungeons in Cyclo had suddenly stopped dropping items. This was the first time this had happened, so he wanted to ask the Ryota family to investigate this matter. Given the dangerous situation, Sato immediately agreed. Sure enough, as Gray said, no matter how much they fought, no items dropped at all. This situation was not good, as prolonged delay would cause item prices to spike and create lasting instability. Sato tried using his own strength to kill a slime, and surprisingly, only he still got item drops. Sato recalled everything that had happened and understood what was going on. He immediately left everyone and entered Nihonium Dungeon. Sato was somewhat worried that if all dungeons became like Nihonium, it would not be good. He proceeded to the 4th floor of the dungeon following Alice's guidance from before and met a woman who was also the dungeon master of Nihonium, the one causing Cyclo's current situation. Sato tried shooting, but it had no effect. Instead, he was sent flying dozens of meters away. Looking at its mocking expression, he thought to himself, could this dungeon master be a ghost, and moreover, one that nullified all human attacks? Inside Nihonium Dungeon, Sato tested all his bullet types, even using combined bullets, but none of them worked. Instead, he was beaten badly. The only bullet that hit its mark was one shot at the sole of its foot. Seeing this, Sato immediately changed his plan. He loaded homing bullets and fired continuously at the Nihonium Dungeon Master's feet. Just as it was about to swing its leg to attack, the bullets took effect and stopped its movement. The monster's hand attack was also blocked by Sato using the same method, easily taking off its right hand. After that earlier hit, he had realized that the dungeon master only materialized the body part it used to attack, so using homing bullets to attack would eventually work. By shooting all his bullets at vital points, the dungeon master's speed and strength had noticeably decreased, allowing Sato to fight it hand to hand. In a situation where strength and speed were equal, the one who would win was him. Thus, after a while, Sato had completely eliminated the dungeon master, but he himself collapsed from multiple injuries. After resting for a while, he only woke up when Emily arrived, and thanks to her, he was able to use his gun to heal his own body. Thanks to eliminating the Nihonium dungeon master, items finally started dropping again, and the people of Cyclo were saved. Emily was very worried about him, feeling Sato had pushed himself too hard. But Sato said he was fine and would limit his recklessness. Just as the two stood up, Sato noticed a ring with a very interesting function. The two left Nihonium Dungeon. Emily really wanted to grab a megaphone and tell the whole city that Sato was the one who resolved this crisis, but Sato did not like being talked about, so she dropped it. Outside the dungeon entrance, Eve, Alice, and Celeste were also waiting out of concern for him. Everyone continued to spend another day together in Cyclo City. The next day, Sato brought the newly obtained ring into the 1st floor of Nihonium Dungeon. He put on the ring and continued collecting blue gemstones. Today, Princess Margaret and her group also came. Her companions shared their situation, saying that thanks to Sato's advice, they were still working hard to develop. Everyone went outside the dungeon entrance to check their stats. Princess Margaret had indeed leveled up to 94, but all her stats were at rock bottom levels, so her abilities had not increased much. Seeing this, Sato gave Margaret a gemstone, and the moment she held it, she immediately leveled up. It turned out the ring Sato received could crystallize the overflowed experience points when reaching maximum level. Thanks to it, Margaret's stats continued to increase, not just level but also personal attributes. Sato continued giving her gemstones, and both stats increased again. Sato explained she was a late bloomer type, so only in the final levels would her stats start increasing. Everyone was overjoyed and immediately thanked Sato. Sato did not accept any reward and quickly left. Afterward, he bought many carrots and bean sprouts to help his teammates level up together. He wanted to use the new ring to help everyone reach maximum level. Eve did not agree with using carrots as combat props, but after everyone persuaded her, she reluctantly accepted. Thus, after a while when the items transformed into stray monsters, Sato quickly drew his gun to attack. The gemstones dropped from the ring were all given to Celeste and Emily for them to level up. Alice, Emily, and Celeste all felt they were so lucky to be Sato's teammates. By evening, thanks to continuous grinding, Emily had reached absolute level, and her other stats had also increased rapidly. Celeste also tried and achieved similar results. Both were very grateful to Sato and felt he was helping them for free. Sato felt there was no problem with it, since helping them meant helping the entire Ryota family. The next day, as Sato and everyone walked down the street, They received a lot of attention from people. Though only established for a few days, the Ryota family was truly full of strong people. Today Sato brought everyone to the permit office for high-level dungeon participation. Though only one person needed to have it, it would be better if everyone did. This time only Celeste and Emily participated in getting permits, and they could both easily pass and obtain their permits. Another productive day passed. Returning home, Sato proposed that everyone would temporarily split up and act independently for a while, each participating in different hunting grounds, finding out their own strength and how much money they could earn. He also said he would prepare drop rate boosting potions for everyone so they could split up, and advised them not to push too hard to earn money, and no matter what they did, to try to come home to eat together. Everyone agreed with this decision. So in the following period, Emily participated in killing black slimes on the 4th floor by herself. Sato went to floors 5 and 6. Celeste went to the 3rd floor of Nihonium Dungeon. Alice continued collecting monsters with her companions, and Eve still focused on floor 2. After some time, they returned home to report their situations. Eve averaged 6 days, earning about 120,000 pyro per day. Emily earned 1,600. Celeste and Alice combined earned just over 200 pyro. Sato also updated his own figures. He alone had earned over 1.5 million pyro, so the whole group could earn 2 million pyro per day. With this money, Sato decided to buy magic carts for everyone in the group. The very next day, 4 new carts were ready, and they were even upgraded so that anything placed in the cart would be transported to their home. Extremely convenient. Alice then asked how they would bring things to sell. Hearing this, Sato went to ask Urza what to do, wanting to discuss with their shop for a moment. After negotiations, Urza finally became the dedicated manager for the Ryota family, and would help them close orders at the harvest room. Everyone warmly welcomed her, even considering Urza no different from a family member. Urza's presence gave everyone an occasion to throw a grand party, even bringing Neptune and his companions to join. Not only them, Princess Margaret and her group heard the news and came to present flowers thanking him for his care. Later, Mr. Orton and little Olga, and Mr. Gray also appeared. The party went on very joyfully, and Sato felt very happy with the present moment. He wondered what his past self would think if he could see such a happy scene like now. But perhaps Sato was the luckiest person, because he still had his teammates by his side. Amidst the joyful laughter filling the house, perhaps the days ahead would continue to pass just as peacefully.